How much does it really cost to chase the American dream as an internationally trained dentist? Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Global Dentists. If you're new here, let me introduce myself. I am Dr. Bhavika Gupta, a dentist from India, and I am on a journey to procure the dental licensure in the United States. Today, in this video, I'll be answering one of the most asked questions on this channel. Exactly how expensive is the DDS pathway for an internationally trained dentist? While the path can be exciting, it comes with a lot of hidden costs and surprises. From exams like the INBD to traveling for interviews, there's a lot to consider for this particular pathway. But don't let that scare you off. Today in this video, I will be breaking down the numbers so that you can plan, prepare, and budget before you even start the journey. Second, I'll be mentioning ways that you can save up on money along the way. And third, I'll be discussing if it's worth the trouble or not. So make sure that you stick around till the end of the video because it's going to be filled with information that you wouldn't want to miss out on. Whether you're a student who's just starting to research the pathway or you're somebody who's already applied to universities, this particular video is going to be really helpful to you anyway. So for everybody's convenience, I've created a Google Sheet which contains the entire budget for the CAPID application process. So this particular document can really help you figure out your budget for the CAPID application. I have divided all the expenses into 6 different categories. After the categories, I've listed out all the expenses and I have listed out the estimated cost in the third column. In the fourth column, I mentioned if it's required or not. Required costs are costs that are required, like that are essential, without which you cannot complete your CAPID application. Whereas the optional costs are optional. You can complete your CAPID application without the optional costs. However, acceptance is not guaranteed. Lastly is the comment section where I've added just your tidbits or like an extra comment about the expense. Here I have my iPad. I will go through each category one by one and I'll break down the costs for you here on the video as well. Let's get to it. So the first and the primary hurdle that you have to face are the exams and the prep material costs. The INBD is the first exam that most people give and it's an expensive exam. You need about 1100 to 1200 US dollars for this particular exam, and that's just the registration fee. Moreover, you have to spend on the TOEFL exam also, which is a required exam. However, ADAT is optional. Other than the registration fee for the exam, you also have to consider the cost for prep materials and the study materials. So for example, if you plan to take on a booster or a bootcamp subscription, it will cost you, a good $300 for a 3-month subscription. However, I do have a discount code. The discount code for bootcamp is Bhavika and the discount code for booster is TAD10. Both of these discounts will get you 10% off of their subscription. Other than the exam and the prep material, you also have to be mindful about the report fee. So while you're registering for these exams, during registration, you can select up to 3-4 universities who get the report for free. However, honestly, personally speaking, you do have to send these reports again and again to different universities that you're applying to, and these report fee add up very quickly. Moreover, these report fee are not even like small amount of money. They're like good $50 for like one report. So for example, if you have to report your grades to 3 universities, it quickly adds up to $150. Be mindful of that and plan ahead as to what schools you'll be applying to and as to who you have to send these reports to. Next up is the credential evaluation. What I mean by that is before you even apply for the INBDE and before you even register for the exam or the CAPID application, you have to get transcripts from your university and you have to get them sent for ECE evaluation. Most universities in the US accept ECE evaluation, and the cost for that can be about $195 as mentioned in the Google Sheet. Moreover, I would recommend that you budget for the university transcripts. Sometimes they need to be translated if they're not in English, and sometimes they have to be notarized. So for me, it costed me about 5,000 Indian rupees, which is about 60 US dollars. Therefore, I would advise that you budget at least $100 for this particular thing, because the costs can vary from university to university and country to country. Moreover, it can also depend on the number of universities you've been to, right? So if you've done your masters or some other degree, these costs will add up. Next up is the application section. So now applications is where it gets expensive. Now, if you didn't know already, in order to apply to universities, you have to apply through a centralized portal system which is called CAPID. Now, CAPID has its own application fee for each school. The CAPID costs about $264 for the first school that you apply to, and then $115 for each subsequent school. I'll give you an example. If somebody is applying to 10 schools, the first school's CAPID application cost would be $264, and then for the next 9 schools, it would be $115 each. Therefore, the CAPID application cost for 10 schools for this particular person would be about $1,300. And that's just the CAPID application fee. That's not even including the supplemental application fee that you have to pay to each university separately. Which brings me to the supplemental application fee. Now, this fee you have to pay to the university separately. And in my personal experience, I've seen it range from $75 to $250. Now, these costs can add up very quickly, which is why it's very important for you to choose your schools wisely. Next is traveling for interviews. So, for example, if you get an interview call from any of the universities that you've applied to, most of these interviews take place in person. They take place offline. Therefore, you do have to travel from wherever you're situated to that particular university in order to appear for that interview. If you're somebody who's traveling internationally to appear for interviews, it's going to be way more expensive. However, if you are located in the United States and you're traveling locally or domestically to go to the interviews, then it may not be as expensive. However, if you are traveling from, let's say, the East Coast to the West Coast, it's going to be expensive. So it's a matter of location as well as distance. Again, reinforcing that choosing your schools wisely is very important. Finally, if you're accepted, you will have to get an F1 visa to study there if you're not a green card holder or a citizen. Moreover, there will be some relocation costs associated with moving to a whole new city or a new university. Budgeting these in is also very important. Those are the main costs for the DDS or CAPID application process. I'm not going to go into how costly the actual DDS degree is. Maybe in a future video I might cover it. However, this particular video I'm only limiting to the application process. Overall speaking, if we look at a minimum budget of, let's say, a person who only does the bare minimum. So they appear for the INBD, they appear for the TOEFL, they apply to 5 schools, they get 1 interview which has a $250 registration fee, and they reside in North America, so they don't have to spend a lot on international travel. In such an ideal situation, this person would have to budget for about $4,454. However, if we talk about a maximum budget where, let's say, a person who is located internationally has given the INBD, TOEFL, and ADAT, is applying to 5 schools, gets 1 interview with $250 registration fee, then in such a situation where they are spending a lot on travel, they would have to budget for about $8,000. I have mentioned this minimum budget and maximum budget in order to give you guys an idea that it can really vary from person to person. Budgeting for the CAPID application or the DDS application is not easy, and you cannot use a cookie cutter method for this. You have to personalize it according to your needs and according to your situation. So it can range from anywhere between $4,000 to $10,000. I'm sure it can feel overwhelming. Trust me, it felt very overwhelming to me as well. But with careful budgeting and pre planning everything, you can avoid surprises and you can save up along the way. If in case this breakdown helped you, I have mentioned the link to this Google Sheet in the description box below. Definitely check it out, copy paste it into a separate sheet, and add, subtract as per your needs, and use it to budget for your application process. Now, if you have found my video useful till now, definitely hit the subscribe button and subscribe to my channel for such great content. Moreover, you can follow me on Instagram at Dr. Bhavika Gupta, and connect with me on Instagram. Now, let's move on to the second part of the video where I discuss how you can save up along the way.